But look, I'm not going to be that long, okay? I'm not going to take that long of a time, but I got a couple questions for you. I want us to do a little interaction right here. Who do you trust? I want some answers.
Ken Parker.
Ken Parker? Who do you trust? Your mom.
My wife.
Your wife. Your family.
Faith.
Your faith. What faith? I'm sorry. What else? Who else? Your mama.
Myself.
Yourself.
Your heart.
Your heart.
My agents.
Your agents.
Money.
Money. Who said that? Well, you know what? That's a reality, isn't it? That's a reality. Now, listen, I got another question for you. Who trusts you?
Clients.
Who?
Clients.
Your clients trust you? You know that?
My kids.
Your kids? Your wife?
Alumni Association.
Alumni Association? Your mama? Well, listen, y'all. You know, some of you didn't want to come up in here, did you? I mean, you were like, I don't want to go to that thing. What the heck? You know, what are they doing? And, you know, you're trying to make money, and you're trying to have a life, and you're trying to raise a family, and you're trying to take care of business. But here's what I got to ask you. Here's what I got to say. You know, if we can't trust you, that's your problem. It really is your problem. And guess what else? It's our problem. And y'all can look at one life as this thing over in Meridian where I'm just kind of come in here and I'm kind of passing through. Do y'all know that's the biggest challenge we have with our football players? How many of the 105 players that we have on scholarship, how many do y'all think they are going to play in the NFL? 104 of them at least. They all think they're going to play in the NFL. So when they come in there as freshmen, they got the passing through mentality. I don't care about nothing. I don't care about anything but playing time. I want playing time because I'm just on my way to the NFL. How many of y'all know that kind of team ain't never going to win any championships in college? And you know what? That's something that's special about our Mississippi State football team right now. We ain't got a bunch of 4- and 5-star guys. We got a bunch of 2- and 3-star and 1-star guys. But they have been willing to work and be developed into 4- and 5-star guys. You know what? They trust one another. And they're going somewhere. And so I got to ask you, when it comes to One Life, do you trust us? And can we trust you? It's really, really important. And you can't act like those football players that are just passing through saying, I'm going to get mine because I'm going to get to the next thing. And that's the way a whole lot of our culture operates right now. I just want to get mine. Nobody cares about me. I'm going to get mine, get on through, and get to the other side, whatever the other side is. Y'all, if that is your attitude, please go on down the road right now. Because you are hurting this company. And guess what? You're hurting yourself. Because if you can't be trusted, you know what you're going to wind up with? Huge regret. Because trust is about relationships. It's about people. And most of y'all named people when we talked about trust. And that's what trust is. And if we don't have trust, if we can't learn to be trustworthy, if we can't find some people that we can trust, man, that's going to be a regretful life. And I don't want to see you in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Do you know some of the most broken people I've ever been around in my life? They're 45, 55, 65 years old, and they've never been trustworthy, and they've never trusted anybody. And that is a lonely, dead, regretful situation. I don't want you to be there. But I'm going to tell you this, how you live the whole of your life is going to determine if you're going to be that person or not. It's not about what you do with the people that you love and your family and you're raising, you're making money. It's about how you treat us. It's about how you treat one another. It's about how you treat people that can't do anything for you. And I saw on the sideline this weekend, we had all those cameras in our faces, and we had two of our players, Gabe Jackson and Nico Whitley, who were both playing in the NFL. And in between them was Dylan Jolly. And nobody knows Dylan. And they didn't even talk. They didn't even introduce Dylan. He was standing right there with those three guys. And Dylan was the guy that made those two guys champions. And he didn't even get his name called. And I'm looking at him and saying, what? We can't be that way. We can't be an organization. We can't be like the world if we're going to be champions. There's got to be something in us that says, you know what? I want to learn to trust people. You know what? I want to be trustworthy. So I want to challenge you today to be that. Look, I've been a husband for 42 years to the same woman. Now, y'all know what I'm doing right now? I'm not bragging because it's by the grace of God. And I've made some mistakes. But you know what? My wife trusts me. I've earned her trust. She told me the other day, she said, Bill, you're finally becoming the man I thought I married. I said, what? What? There's some reality in that. But you know what? You know what? That woman trusts me. And I'm going to stand beside her until one of us breathes our last. And I'm going to tell you, that is good stuff. And that is worth fighting for. Marriage is worth fighting for. And my kids, every one of my kids, they think I'm great. They can't see my weaknesses. You know the only reason? Is because I've been there. I ain't been a stud dad. I've made so many stupid mistakes with my kids, they ought to be messed up. By the grace of God, they're not. They're pursuing God. They have strong careers. They're taking care of business. They've got great families. But they trust me because I was there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to grow as God's man for them. That's what I want to do. That's my heart. So I want to ask you, can we trust you? What is your credibility with us? And if you can't, if you are not willing, and here's the thing about trust. This is what we don't like about trust. It makes us vulnerable. It makes us have to open up our hearts. And we don't like to do that. We had rather not do that. We'd rather just go on down the road, be tough, make our money, take care of business, and go to the next thing. I'm going to tell you what, if you are going to be a person that can be trusted, you are going to have to learn to open your heart. So I want to talk just real quickly about a few things right here that I think can help you, okay, about your credibility. And I've just got some questions right now for you. Number one, are you willing to make whatever sacrifice is necessary to promote others? And you can look on page 27. I'm going from teammate credibility on page 27. I'm sorry. Number one, are you willing to make whatever sacrifice is necessary to recognize and promote others? Are you willing to do that? What will you do to promote other people? What are you doing? This morning I left a handout on every one of our football coaches' desk. You know what I challenged them about? Y'all know game day's coming to Mississippi State this week, right? It's a big game, and they're coming. But you know what I challenged our coaches to do? I challenged them. I said, I challenge you to find a walk-on this week and go and connect with a walk-on that's not going to be in the limelight. I challenge you to do that. Because you know what that does? That gets them out of all the hoopla, out of all the video and the cameras and everything, and gets right down to your heart. Do you care enough about people that can do nothing for you? That's what honor's all about. They're all around you. But if we can't trust you to be that kind of person, we can't trust you to stand with us in the fight. Number two, What are you doing about authority in your life? I mean, let me ask you this. Whose authority are you under? I'm telling you, I know something about human nature. We do not like for anybody to tell us what to do. We don't like to take commands. That's another reason I love football teams. Because you know what? They know the nature of the battle and the price you're going to have to pay to be a champion. Football teams get that, but most organizations don't get that. Most people don't get that. That to live the kind of life, a championship life, you got to know what the battle is, and you got to know what it takes to get there. It's so huge, so important. And to be under authority is one of the most important things that you can do. So I want to ask you, whose authority are you under? And can I tell you whose authority I'm under? I'm under my wife's authority. Well, wait a minute now, Bill. Isn't the husband supposed to lead the household? Yeah, but we lead together. We are co-laborers, and we lead together. And she can speak into my life in ways that nobody else can. How many of y'all know, Mama sometimes it ain't easy when she speaks the truth to you. But I am so glad for my wife who's not afraid to speak the truth to me in love. I need that so bad. I've got about 5 guys that they know that they can call me anytime, anywhere, and challenge me about how I'm living my life. And I have to be accountable to them because we've agreed to. And they speak into my life, I speak into their life, and they can call me anytime and challenge me. I'm under their authority. I'm under the authority of my pastor. I try to be there. I try to be a part of my church, my local church. I go and I serve. Dang, I take care. You know who I teach at Sunday school? I teach the 4 and the 5-year-olds. Do y'all know what that's like? Do y'all understand that? I'm going to tell you what, that's sacrifice right there. Do you know why I do that? Because I want to come under the authority of the leaders in my life. Because when I do that, when I come under authority, I learn to walk in authority. And every time I get under the good authority that God put in my life, I feel like a kite that's rising up, and the air of authority is blowing in my life, and I can soar where I need to go because I'm a submitted guy. And I've learned to be coachable and teachable and directable. And there's nothing better than that kind of person. It's powerful. Number 3, you got to be a role player. Are you a role player among us? Are you unafraid to take the highest place or the lowest place? Whichever falls to you. Where are you right now? One of the most important guys on our team? The daggum snapper. Right? He snaps for all the kickoff, for all the PATs and the field goals. And if we don't have the snapper doing his job, oh man, it's going to be bad. Because we're going to win and lose some games by 2, 3, 4 points. But he don't ever get his name in the paper. No, y'all don't know who our snapper is, do you? Ain't nobody up in here. You follow Mississippi State, you don't know who our snapper is. But his name is Winston Chapman. And he's been willing to play that role every day, taking care of business where he is. And you know what? God's going to honor that in his life. So are you doing the same? Are your people doing the same? Number 4. You know what? If I'm going to be trustworthy, I'm going to have to learn how to overcome offense. And can I say this real quickly? You know what I had to deal with personally in my life? I have a core value that I'm getting over, but this has been a core value most of my life. Retaliation. Are y'all with me? Are y'all on your phones back there? Are you on your computers? Are y'all paying attention? Don't make me come back there. Retaliation. Did you hear that? That's a core value. You don't want retaliation as a core value. That's not going to be good in traffic. It's not going to be good in a marriage. It's not going to be good anytime. Retaliation is not what you want. Do you know why I was so retaliatory? Because when I was a kid, I grew up in a bad part of town. I was a white kid in a rich white kid town. I was a poor white kid in a rich kid town. And I grew up on the bad side. I didn't belong to the country club. I learned to fight. I learned that nobody cared about me, nobody liked me, and to hell with everybody else. That's what I learned. And you know what? Listen, it was a wound that I carried. I didn't know. I was a needy person, and I carried that into my adult life. You know? And so if I felt like somebody, I've watched my wife. If somebody rejects her, you know what my wife does? She just goes to them. Just goes to them and loves on them. And, hey, let's talk about that. You know, tell me about your family. You know, and she's so nurturing in that. If I feel like somebody's rejecting me, you know what I do? You want a piece of me? Just bring it on. Now that is not sexy, okay? And I had to overcome that and deal with that in my life. Now, I'm still a fighter, but I don't think I fight out of neediness. And if you're fighting out of neediness, if you have a place of woundedness in you, you're always going to be dealing with offense. And if you stay, do you know anybody like that? They stay offended all the dang time. Yeah. You know, is that any kind of team member? Can you trust that kind of person? Heck no, you can't trust them. Number five, can we trust you? Can we trust you? Are you the kind of person that's committed to develop your life and your ability? Do you have the ability it takes to evaluate your own life for maturity? Can you evaluate how mature are you? And what are you measuring your maturity by? Do y'all know some of the most immature people in the world are the people that you see on TV all the time? D1 coaches, NFL players, governmental people. And we promote them as being something great, but all they have intelligence, they have charisma, they can get the job done, there's a whole lot they can do, but when you get right down to it, they're not mature people. They don't even have any clue about what maturity is. And so I want to ask you, do you know what maturity is? What does it mean to be a grown man? What does it mean to be a mature woman? You know? And I think grown men and grown women, I think one thing about them, they know how to evaluate their own lives for growth. And so I want to ask you, have you grown as a person in the last year, the last 5 years, the last 10 years? Maybe your sales have grown, but have you grown as a person, as an individual? As somebody that people want to be with, as somebody that knows how to build strong and lasting relationships, that knows how to take care of life. It's so powerful and so needful for us to understand that and be willing to grow. And then number 6, how tough are you? I mean, dang, it's hard getting up every day and going and doing what you do and working with people and trying to sell. But you know, something that keeps us as a football team going where we need to go. You know what? Weakness and whining is absolutely not tolerated in the Mississippi State football program. I mean, you want to see a bunch of guys jump on something? Let somebody be weak about something. Let somebody whine about something. Man, that is not going to go in our program. Why? Because it kills everything we're trying to do. You know, you can't trust somebody who's going to be weak and whining in the middle of the battle when the adversity and the battles come. Number 7. Hey, how wholehearted are you about what we're doing right here? Are you wholehearted about your job? Where is your heart in this thing right now? We've got this big sign up on our weight room wall, and I don't have it in this book, but if you want to write it down, find a place where you can write 6 words down on top of one another. Owner, worker, employee, wannabe. You know how to spell that, right? Fence sitter, rebel. Owner, worker, employee, wannabe, fence sitter, and rebel. Those words are on this giant board. Some of you have heard me say this before. On a giant board in our weight room. And out beside, there's room for you to write names of players. And actually, the names of all of our players are up on that board beside one of those names. And every week, everybody is evaluated for growth and wholeheartedness in the program. And, you might walk in there and you might see Cedric Giles. Dang, he's a wannabe this week. Dang. That means he's just wearing the colors. He's just wearing the colors. That's all he's doing. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't helping us at all. And then you come in there and you see Rashawn McCaleb. Dang, he's an owner. He's inspiring other people. He doesn't have to get somebody to motivate him. He's inspiring people. He's the guy that's taking charge of the pro. He is owning this thing. And it's really amazing how to see your name up there on that board and people walk by there every day. It is a calling out. But you know what? I'm going to tell you. Well, you look at that thing, the guys that don't do this right here, go out the door. And good riddance. Because we don't need the rebels. We don't need people that are going to pull in the opposite direction. We don't need the fence sitter, in and out, in one day, out the next. We don't need the wannabe that's going to wear the colors. We really don't need an employee. Somebody just does just what's enough. Man, we need some workers and some owners in this business. Every team does. And I love that calling out. I hope you can use that. And then number 8. Are y'all okay? Yes, Number 8. Can we trust you? Can we trust you to value reality above your own limited perspectives and personal agendas? Can I just take a minute and talk about my faith? Absolutely. Working at Mississippi State, I meet all kinds of people, kids from all parts of the country. And I met a kid from California the other day. Sometimes they can be colorful and different, can't they? Is anybody from California? Ah, look at there. See? There's 3 colorful guys right there. And this guy, we were talking about faith, and I wasn't like, I'm a Christian, y'all know that. I wasn't like cornering this guy. I didn't say anything about who I was. I just said, tell me about who you are. And you know what he did? He said, I'm an atheist. And I don't believe in any kind of absolute truth. I said, really? He said, absolutely. I said, well, there's one that you believe in right there. No, he really did. But we had a good conversation, and I was just asking him about why he believed what he did. And I promise you, to this day, he doesn't know how I believe. I really was trying to connect with this guy's heart. He started talking about being an atheist, and I found out. Here's what I found out. I found out that the church or church people had really wounded this kid, and really had hurt. He had been hurt by Christian people, and so he turned his back on that whole thing because of woundedness. Now, but here's the deal. Did you know woundedness is a personal agenda? It's a personal agenda because it's like I've got to deal with the woundedness, and if I'm hurt and I don't get healed, I've got to deal with that sore inside. I've got to deal with it, and it becomes an agenda for us where you can't hear the truth. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and propound a bunch of truth to you right now about what I believe is truth. But here's what I do believe. If you're going to know the truth, you got to get out of your limited perspective and out of your personal agenda. Because the truth does not care about either one of those things. It is what it is. Now, I didn't say God doesn't care about you. He does. But the truth is what it is. So I'm going to challenge you in that. I think if this group right here could do that right there, be truth seekers, could you be truth seekers together? Where you would lay down your limited perspective of the way you see things? You know, whether you're even you're Christian, the Baptists don't believe like the Catholics, and the Catholics don't believe like the Episcopalians. And, you know, where's the truth in all that? This is so important to being a trustworthy person. Because if you are not honest enough with yourself to be a truth seeker, we can't trust you. I really believe that. See, now that I wasn't sharing about Jesus and making you be receive Jesus, or who, if you're not a Christian, that wasn't about that. It's about you being a truth seeker. That is so huge. Because you know what? If you're not a truth seeker, you can't trust yourself. You can't trust yourself. And I don't want that to be true of you. Can anybody say amen? Amen. Y'all are scaring me. I'm almost done. Number nine. Number nine just talks about if we live as credible people, reward is going to come to us. If we live as credible, trustworthy people, reward will come to us. The reward of an excellent life. That's not only about finances and things, but it is about those things as well. And then the last one right here, and then I'll be done. The last one right there is a trustworthy person is somebody that is willing to carry the burden of victory for our team alone if necessary. Now, that's really calling you out right there, isn't it? Do you know that my wife had to do that in our marriage for a few years? She had to carry the burden of our marriage by herself because I was an asshole. And I am not proud of that. But you know what? She did it. And it led to victory for us. And it taught me how to carry the burden of victory for other people who are acting like assholes. And I am so glad I learned that. I'm so glad I learned that. Because somebody's willing to carry the burden for others. Oh, now that's trust. We can trust that. So, I want to close by asking you if you would just consider those two questions again in light of what we just talked about. Who do you trust, and who can trust you? And, here's the good news, that I believe that with God's help, with an open heart, and with one another, we can really be trustworthy folks. And our credibility can be so strong that what we do will impact people way beyond a business. Amen? Amen? Amen. All right. I think that's all I had.